Dominica signs €8.9 million agreement with EU. Diaspora urged to harness entrepreneurial skills, and final draft of National Physical Development Plan complete. Thank you for joining us on National Focus. I'm Lourianne Graham-Carter. Stay with us for the details of these and other stories after this.
Child abuse is unacceptable. Child abuse is not cultural, it is criminal. And one child abuse is one too many.
For more information on child abuse or to report suspected cases on child abuse, contact the Social Welfare Division on 33 Great Marlborough Street or call 266-3020 or 266-3080.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica has signed an €8.9 million financing agreement with the European Union to further support efforts by the Roosevelt-Skerrit administration to rehabilitate the country after the damage caused by Tropical Storm Erica. The agreement was signed by the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs Francine Baron and the European Commission Director for International Cooperation and Development at the recent EU-CELAC summit held in the Dominican Republic. The overall post-Erica rehabilitation project, which will be carried out through the Ministry of Finance, is part of efforts by government to source concessionary or grant funding that will mitigate the effects of tropical weather phenomena. The project is being financed under the 11th European Development Fund and will be administered via the General Support Program. In the margins of the presentation of credentials on November 2nd by the new European Ambassador to Dominica, to the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre, Ambassador Tramakere also held a meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt-Skerrit, where details of the financing agreement were discussed. Immediately following the damage caused by Erica, the EU's Humanitarian and Civil Protection Department provided EC $913,000 in emergency humanitarian funding to assist those most affected. Meanwhile, Ambassador Tramakere also discussed other aspects of Dominica's cooperation with the European Union, such as the program of the Banana Accompanying Measure, BAM. Dominica was allocated €15.27 million for the BAM, and to date 97% or €14.5 million of all BAM funds have been contracted. In other news, the Honorable Minister for Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development, Rosalind Paul, has called on Dominicans living in the diaspora to be more entrepreneurial in their approach towards nation building. Honorable Paul made the appeal as she addressed Government's Diaspora Forum at the State House Conference Room on November 1. The forum was held under the theme Strengthening Our Commitment Through Investment.
The Ministry of Commerce vision is to be the key driver fueling business economic transformation. You can be added fuel to that fire or to that engine, particularly as we move to being more globally competitive. The government of Dominica is keen on spreading the culture of entrepreneurship and on stimulating greater investments. As we do so, we seek for greater engagement of the Dominican diaspora towards spreading the culture of entrepreneurship and greater investments.
The Honorable Minister indicated that government, through the Invest Dominica Authority, continues to create an ideal business environment for both local and foreign investors. Honorable Paul revealed her intention to further collaborate with the diaspora.
The Dominica diaspora can be pivotal in the process of transformation to positively impact the social and economic landscape of Dominica. Consequently, we at the Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development, we are happy to embrace you towards more collaborative and coordinated effort. I intend to initiate greater dialogue and collaboration with you. and to facilitate discussion with private sector and the diaspora so that we can initiate a partnership program with this objective in mind.
The Honorable Commerce Minister listed a few ventures the diaspora can consider undertaking.
You can pursue public-private initiatives to promote social and economic development in Dominica. You can be an important conduit for outsourcing between Dominica and the respective countries of residence. And I speak here of even products and services. And as you would note on display, we have a number of Dominica local products. I am sure you can be a channel to bolster exports. So you can import, create that partnership, import these local products that you see, and distribute to even others in the diaspora or in your host country.
Honorable Paul believes that Dominica would be short-changing itself as a nation if it does not capitalize on the ability of the diaspora to contribute to nation development. And the final draft of the National Physical Development Plan is complete. The national plan, which will govern the appropriate use of land in Dominica for the next 20 years, was presented on April 26 to stakeholders and members of the press. The project was conceptualized in 2010 and approved for funding by the Caribbean Development Bank in 2013. Now, 4 years later, according to Chief Physical Planner Kelvin Roll, the final draft is complete.
The National Physical Development Plan will show the areas that are designated for different uses. As you all should know, through consultation, we brought all the different agencies together, all the plans together, all the thinking of Dominica, so how we would like to see Dominica develop and move forward. And this has been put together in the National Physical Development Plan.
The plan was comprised of two phases. Phase 1 was the preparation of the National Land Use Policy, which ran from December 2013 and was completed in May 2014. This process involved consultation with government departments and agencies and a few private sector organizations and individuals. The policy was approved by Cabinet in May 2015, and that cleared the way for the commencement of the National Physical Development Plan, which is Phase 2. Dillon Consulting Limited are the consultants for the plan.
Dillon Consulting has been, over the last 2 years, been working on the National Physical Development Plan. As the public should know that the National Land Use Policy was approved by Cabinet last year, and we have moved along now with the National Physical Development Plan. This has been completed. The first draft has been, well, not the first draft, the final draft is completed, and the consultant is here. We have been doing some radio programs in presenting the plan. We have also presented the plan to Cabinet, and the plan is more or less complete.
The Chief Planner describes the new plan as comprehensive.
The consultant tried to get the views of all the different sectors of society, the views of all the different agencies, government agencies and NGOs, and incorporate their ideas into that physical plan. So it's not physical planning, just preparing a plan in isolation, or the consultant come in and prepare a plan in isolation. It's the putting together of all the ideas of all the different agencies together to prepare that plan. And it was a very interesting study and procedures. We could follow the procedure and see how this plan was put together.
Senior Land Use Planner and Project Manager of Dillon Consulting, Rory Bashk, commended the government of Dominica for initiating the new physical development plan.
It really is demonstrates how much of a leader Dominica is in the Caribbean in terms of thinking about its future and working with citizens and a wide variety of stakeholders to help shape a plan for the betterment of the country for the next 2 decades.
Bask revealed that although the creation of a plan for Dominica is challenging, the plan will address all areas of physical development.
We come to realize that there's really approximately about 12% of Dominica that is unconstrained and available for development. And what that means is that the country needs to think very carefully about what it does with that 12%, because that 12% is the most valuable of land for growth and settlement, and we want to make sure that we're optimizing it, not just for today, but for future generations. That's been the largest challenge in this plan, but the good thing is that with regards to climate change resiliency, which this plan is intended to address in a very direct way, the results of Tropical Storm Erica gave us a first-hand understanding of what climate change can do to the island and how important it is that we think about these things and ensure that where we are investing in our infrastructure, our facilities, and our housing, that we are placing them in locations that are outside of these high-risk areas.
He noted, however, that the response from stakeholders during the series of consultations is admirable.
The thing about the consultation was that it began from a perspective that we wanted to build buy-in throughout the very many stages of doing this plan. As opposed to working quietly in our offices for a number of months and years and then finally bringing the plan to light, what we've done is through a series of open houses and town halls and workshops, we've collaborated with a wide variety of people, and everyone has seen how the input they've provided successively shapes the plan, and how a piece of advice or some information or a recommendation that they gave, for example, in January of 2014, has now been shaping the plan that we see today. And that degree of interaction and high degree of consensus building, I think, is characteristic of the way Dominicans like things to be done. They believe that they're very passionate about their land and their future, and they've wanted to have a voice in this process and know that the plan is for them and by them. And I think we can say confidently at the end of this process that this is a plan for Dominicans and by Dominicans.
In more news, the Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank will, for the month of November into December, celebrate its 45th anniversary by giving back to the community and its customers. The Aid Bank was incorporated on July 8, 1971 by an Act of Parliament and began operations in November of that year. Since its inception, the bank has promoted and influenced economic development and mobilized funds for development purposes. General Manager of the Aid Bank since 2013, Julius Corbett, last week highlighted the significant investments of the bank for the past 45 years. The bank's loans for the productive sector has risen to over $100 million.
Approximately 550 jobs have been created on an annual basis by the loans we have provided. Just over the past 5 years, 3,220 jobs have been created through the projects funded by the Aid Bank. When commercial banks were not willing really to provide education loans to students, the Aid Bank was there to facilitate thousands of Dominicans in advancing their education and their careers.
Legal officer with the bank, Saudi Cyrus, indicated the bank's employees are proud to be associated with the many positive achievements of the institution,
such as nurturing economic growth, taking greater risks than our banking counterparts, facilitating export of foreign exchange earnings, and being instrumental in the creation of employment and wealth for our people. The bank is also pleased to enhance the human and social capital through our student and housing loan programs and corporate social responsibility. Communications Coordinator of the Aid Bank, Josephine Deschausset-Tit, gave the history of the bank since it began operations. She boasts of a staff complement of 44 more than what existed at the commencement of operations 45 years ago.
The bank's first chairman, Mr. Crispin Sorrendo, and manager, R.P. Ayer, realized income for the first year of operations in the amount of $214.22. This amount comprised appraisal fees of $138.23, interest on advances of $17.23, and investigation on certificate of title fees of $58.76. During this period, 15 loans were approved at a value of $99,936, while $4,421 was disbursed. At the end of the financial year 2015, The value of loans approved was in excess of $614 million.
The bank began celebration on Sunday, 6 November with Mass at the Canefield Catholic Chapel. During the month, they will host a Customer Appreciation Day and in December, Customer Recognition. For the past year, the bank has adopted the Goodwill Highway from the Pottersville Boathouse to Marboyd's Bar. Committee member Avril Coppell outlined their plans for that area.
On a monthly basis, the bank sponsors the maintenance of the area and ensures that it is kept clean and beautiful. Recently, several of the palm trees along the highway were destroyed, much to the dismay and distaste of the public. And of course, where the bank remains committed to ensuring that the area remains beautiful. And so, as part of the activities, we will be holding a tree planting ceremony to replace those palms and also to add additional trees. The project will also include the beautification of the existing planters and the plants along the median.
In honor of two deceased long-serving directors, the bank has launched 2 scholarships for study at the Dominica State College. The first is the Hubert Nicholas Joseph Scholarship for Entrepreneurship. The second is the Robert Alfred Henry Scholarship for Agriculture. Applications have already begun to pour into the bank's office for these scholarships, and they will be awarded at an official ceremony. The bank will also be offering incentives and rewards during the month of November and December. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I had a bleeding disorder that I did not know about, and they had to be transfusing me continuously. I got 56 units.
Being there at the blood bank, I was like, yo, I'm actually saving someone's life.
You never know when you can go.
Give blood. I have done it, and believe it or not, it don't hurt.
I won't be scared. I'll give. You know you're gonna give blood. I'll make sure she does.
Sit down at the blood bank in a comfortable environment for 45 minutes.
Helping people.
You are stimulating your body to make brand new cells.
You get free cookies, you get juice.
Glad to know your blood group. Feels good.
I felt as a better person.
It's a good thing to be alive, and I can thank God that I'm there and I'm enjoying life.
Thank you for staying with us. The 2016 cultural season has seen marked improvement in the involvement of youth. In an interview, GIS News Cultural Projects Officer Gregory Barbes noted that young people played a huge part in the cultural events around the island. Independence activities began on September 17 and culminated with the Community Day of Service on November 4th.
This year's cultural activities generally went very well. We saw the participation of young children and young people, and that was a feature of this year's cultural competitions. Normally you would have probably more of the older folk participating, but this year the trend has been participation of young children, school children and young adults. So that augurs well for the continuity of the cultural traditions here in Dominica.
He explained what that would mean for future independence activities.
We have to step up our training activities in the schools and in the communities. And of course, we also invite some of the older practitioners to continue passing on the traditions to the younger generation. So that these are important features of the independence celebrations this year.
Chairman of the Independence Committee, Raymond Lawrence, also spoke with GIS News and confirmed the significant improvement in the participation of schools in the 2016 independence activities.
We have found that activities like Flag Day, like National Emblems Week, a lot of the schools make extra special efforts at their assemblies, at their rallies, within the classroom situations to highlight and to encourage the children to have a deeper appreciation and understanding and pride in their emblems and Dominica and the history of the country. So we think all of that speaks very well for the future of our young people, the future of culture in Dominica, and the future of events and festivals like the independence celebrations.
Meanwhile, Rabes raised one particular challenge the cultural groups encountered.
You know, the costumes, the dresses, they cost quite a lot, and that's a challenge for us at the Cultural Division. It's also a challenge for the groups as they seek to raise funds, seek resources to try to have new costumes, because every year they don't want to wear the same, and of course you can't expect them to wear the same old costumes every year. So that's a challenge that we and the cultural groups would have to look at in terms of more investments, more support for the costuming.
While the call continues for sponsorship of the cultural groups, he commended the solid partnership between the government, private sector and civic groups in their very apparent involvement in this year's cultural activities.
It's a difficult call here because, I mean, the private sector also has many challenges, economic challenges, just like the government of Dominica in terms of allocating resources. And obviously both government and private sector agencies have to prioritize where, in fact, the monies are invested. So it means careful targeting of investments in the cultural sector. And of course, over the past few months, you would have noticed some initiatives happening both at the level of the state and at the level of the private sector. So yes, of course, there's always room for more, but we have to recognize that there is a challenge as well. So it's careful targeting of sponsorship and investments in the cultural sector to have maximum impact. So that's really the way to go in that sense.
The Cultural Projects Officer lamented the premature end of the Cultural Gala, which was affected by the weather on Independence Day. Prior to the cancellation of the event, Dominica's ballet queen from Paybush, Rebellion Walter, received the Lifetime Achievement Award. The Goodwill Secondary School received the E.O. Libla Trophy and Nisha Prosper the Young Artist Award. Rabes was exuberant about planning the events for 2017 and Dominica's 40th anniversary in 2018. And that's news. Your tip of the day is next.
Protection from abuse is every child's right. Everyone has a shared responsibility in protecting the child from abuse.
Mothers, believe your children when they say they've been abused, and follow through with child abuse cases when they've been reported.
For more information on child abuse or to report suspected cases on child abuse, contact the Social Welfare Division on 33 Great Marlborough Street or call 266-3020 or 266-3080.
Studies have shown that it takes twice as long for people to heal if they're chronically stressed compared to those who are more relaxed. For that reason and more, the willingness to rest is one of the cornerstones of good health. And chances are you're not getting enough. A break doesn't have to be long. 2 or 3 minutes of sustained mental quiet after an hour of work can do wonders. Just take a few minutes, no matter where you are, and just close your eyes. That's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. Live streaming is also available on our YouTube channel 24 hours a day. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Lourianne Graham-Carter. Thank you for watching.